Hey everybody, Peter and Justin here from Instinct Defense Academy. Thank you for watching. As always, it's not only our mission to just to teach you how to fight, but also how to live.
So in this video today, we're going to be learning how to deal with a baseball bat swing attack. It can be pretty intimidating. This bat right here, pretty heavy. You know, it's going to move a lot slower than a knife would be, but it could have a lot more damage potentially. We're just going to kind of demonstrate what this might potentially look like. Boom. For the sake of our training, we're not going to be dealing with this because too much danger in that. So we've got this nice action bat that we'll be using to keep things safe. Hopefully we can show you some fun principles that will really translate to a lot of different things in your martial art training. So one of the main principles with this drill is this concept in Japanese called heiki. And it really just translates to being blasé. How else would you describe that?
Remain calm under pressure, not worry too much.
Yeah, being able to just stay cool and calm. This is one thing that we've discovered in being able to understand that obstacles can really make us stronger, and learning how to deal with that under pressure, being able to move calmly and collectively. And this, we feel like, is a great tool to allow us to handle situations in life. So not only is this drill good for our physical protection, but it really should translate to life in general as well. All right, you want to talk us through the different stages where we start?
This first stage starts out with just understanding the reach of our attacker and his tool. Today, we're using a bat.
This is actually stage 0. So we have 4 more stages after this. This is really just like a very beginner level stage. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to demonstrate my reach with an attack. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to attack and I'm going to stop right here.
This allows me to be able to come in and actually get a sense for how far away this is. I'm physically going to come up and almost touch myself, maybe a finger's width of distance here. And I'm going to come with this with some momentum. Okay, this is where it is. And this is essentially stage 0, just understanding that distance.
There's a common mistake with this. A lot of people will just go like this and go, here you go. And this is not really realistic, because if I had any momentum in my attack, it would not look like this, because I don't attack like this. I'm going to attack like this. Boom! Right? So see the difference between where I was? This is the true distance, right? And there's a big difference here, and he's got to understand that. If I'm training and I'm doing this with my attack, and this happens commonly because we don't want to hurt each other in training, right? So when people come in, they go, ugh, because they don't want to attack and actually hit their partner. But you're not doing your partner any favors when you do that. You really got to try and hit them, right? Because if you're not trying to hit them, you're going to do them a big disservice. So one more time, I'm here. Boom, this is my distance.
Come in and I want to catch this feeling for how close I can be without being hit. Right here.
Okay, Justin, you want to talk about phase 1?
Phase 1, absolutely. So phase 1, we continue with this as opposed to this time, instead of our partner holding out our tool, this time he's going to take a swing at us without stepping. So each stage we slowly increase the distance in which our attacker can gain.
For phase 1, my job as the one giving the attack, as the attacker, is I get in a good solid stance, and I'm going to come in here, and as he approaches, I'm going to try and hit him, right? My goal is to actually, so let me do this, let me actually hit you. I'll hit you in the shoulder. Okay, I just have to hold my ground. Right there. So this is phase 1. My job is to literally try and hit him. That's why you got to train with this and not a real live bat, because it doesn't work too well when you're trying to go through these phases of learning, right? Okay, so now Justin has 2 options that he can do to deal with this, and I'll share my perspective from the attacker's point of view as well.
So in this case, we have 2 options. We have fight or flight, in a sense. What I mean by flight is we're actually going to take slight distance away, or we can go in, which is the fight. Both can be interpreted in many ways. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Notice how when I come in, I want to maintain that control. We'll talk about that in a minute, but that's going away. I'll show it one more time and I'll pause to check at that distance as well.
This takes a lot of practice to get it just right.
Which brings up an important point. I have to sell that I'm going to be able to come in on him, because if he doesn't do anything, then I could just overpower him and do whatever I need to do.
The intensity and the speed with which he comes in at, imagine if he was a ball and I've got this baseball bat and I'm trying to hit a ball, right? If somebody throws me a lob, it's a lot easier for me to hit that lob. If he throws me a fastball, it's a lot harder to hit. The faster he moves towards me with more intensity, the harder it's going to be for me to judge right when I need to make that impact and where I need to be with my bat to make maximum impact. This is the importance of him selling it, right? And being able to walk in with intensity and speed is part of the drill that makes my job as an attacker much more difficult.
Right here.
Good, that was a good one. And this also leads up to the second option, right? It's important that you actually practice both of these, because then it leaves me guessing. If I know he's always going to stop short, then I can start adjusting for that. But as you see, this next phase, or this next option that he has, is always the case. You always have two options, and once you've done both, then you can experiment with them, and you'll see how much more difficult it is on my part to know if he's going to go in or out.
Next one, we're going to be moving in.
Good. So that was really well done from my perspective. You know, I swung right when I thought I needed to hit him, and that's when he kind of sped up and moved right past me. So now in this, he's not going to tell me what he's going to do, and I'm just going to try and hit him, and he's going to go either in or he's going to fall short, and that will make it much more difficult and more realistic of an attack. Okay. Nice. Well done. Now we get to move on to phase two. And phase two really just changes on the attacker's perspective. I'm making my attack a little bit more realistic because I'm now going to be able to take a step like I naturally would if I were swinging with full intensity, right? So we're just bumping up the intensity as we go along. And this obviously will change the distance. And so he has to naturally deal with that distance. At first you might think that seems really impossible, but think of it like this, you know, like when you walk up a flight of stairs, do you ever measure the stairs when you walk up? And some stairs are shorter, some are longer. You just automatically do it, right? Your body automatically compensates for that extra distance. And so this is what we find with this too. It sounds a lot more difficult than it is. So you want to kind of go in phases. So start with phase 0, then go to phase 1. When you feel like you can really master phase 1, then move on to phase 2. I was fully committed. You know, my job is to attack, right? And I have comfort in knowing that I'm not going to hurt him, right? And so that's the important thing. You have to have the right tools to train with this. Going back to this idea, we're trying to develop that essence of Heiki, or that ability to remain calm under pressure.
If you can't pressure test and you're willing to be able to take a hit, then you're probably not training hard enough in whatever it is that you're doing.
What are some of the key indicators that you're training too fast or training too hard?
If you're training too hard or too fast, you're overriding your training with a flinch response. If you're catching a lot of this, or if you're working with people who may not have been training as long as you, and you catch this like jerking type of motion, you're overriding your training, you're overriding your nervous system. So you can't.
Right. So that means you got to back off, right? So if I see him as the attacker, I'm his training partner, right? And so I got to help assist him get better, right? Because we take turns at this, and it's my turn to train. He's going to be attacking me with the bat. So I want to do him a service. If I see him flinching, that's an indicator that I'm going too intensely or I'm too hard. I got to back off, right? Because otherwise you're actually doing more damage than you're doing good. You don't want to ingrain a flinch response. we want to get rid of that, right? Okay, so on phase 3, the roles are slightly reversed in the sense that he's going to stand in place, and me as the attacker, I will be coming at him. Dude, that one I thought I was going to get you for sure. I thought for sure I was going to get that whiskers again. Yeah, so that was perfect. And you can tell when you do it right. Like I almost flinched because I was like, oh no, I'm going to hit him. But I didn't. So I stayed committed, right? And that's the problem as the attacker. When you think you're going to hit, you pull back. And you can't do that. You got to just stay committed and know that if you hit him, it's going to be okay. The hard part of being a trainer is like you don't want to hurt your partner, and so you don't give committed attacks. And like I said earlier, just repeating this because it's so important, and it's a common mistake that all of our students do, that we still do together, right? We're still learning. You got to still go through this process each time. And you get better as you go along, obviously, but that was spot on. Nice work. Okay, so now he's got the second option that you need to see. Nice. Okay, so now phase 4, from my perspective, I'm giving committed attacks, and he's gonna evade that first one if he's doing it correctly. He's got 2 options: come in or fall short. My job now on this phase 4, is to continue to attack until he has me in a controlled position. He's already demonstrated that a few times, but we'll kind of slow it down and kind of talk about that one. Boom. So from here, he immediately comes in, and I can't go anywhere except away from him. I have no strength to come back into him because of how my body's oriented and how he's controlling my shoulder.
Falling short.
Boom.
Come this way. Immediately my hands come out first.
And then it's the same thing here. So if I want to attack him here, the only thing I can do is step away, right? I've got to step away because of the position that I'm in and to create power. All we're going to do now is kind of pressure test that by me attacking him. And I continue to attack until he has me in that position of control. The hard part is if you're doing this perfectly, you do it right on the first time, and you've got control right away. So he's been doing this a while, so he can almost get that instantly. So we'll kind of cheat a little bit and make you not as good so that we can show you what it looks like for most people.
Also keep in mind, right before we hit this is not a total form of control to be able to end it. This is just a moment in time to be able to stop them from continuing to be able to attack.
I'll just kind of come in slow here. Boom, right? So he didn't come in, he just stayed away. So I'm going to keep on coming at him. Now he's got the control that we're talking about, right? And from here, like I said, the only thing I can do is back away, and then he's got the control that we want to see.
A couple of the key points in here that we're really trying to be able to practice for that control is when we come in, we want to slowly come out of distance. Immediately our hands come out first. And as far as the control goes, as far as the shoulder, we want to put like the meaty part of our hand like right onto the seam of the shirt here. And we also want to have this stacking. So I want to push his weight slightly over onto this side. So that way his weight's shifted here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not too much to where he's stepping. If I'm doing that, that's a sign I'm doing it too much on my end. But if I do too little, he has all this power. So you have to be able to understand how to test that out. And you got to communicate with each other.
Another one of the points I think that we work on during phase 3 is this ability to, because he's going to be standing there and I'm going to be coming in at him, he has to move slowly. It's all about timing. You got to move at the right time, which is you got to move sooner than you think, but you want to also move slower than you think. And it's also key that he's not changing his silhouette. I'm capturing this silhouette that he's portraying like this, right? And as he starts, I'm here, he's already moving slowly, and then boom, 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 and his silhouette never changed. So that's the key point that really helps sell this for me as an attacker, thinking that I've got him. You know, you'll notice that most people, when they do this, they have a hard time being able to maintain their silhouette. and they move much too quickly, very jerky motions, and it's easy to kind of track them. Yeah.
Even there, yeah, you got me there. And you might even be scared, right? You know, it's part of Heiki, try and stay calm and collected.
Yeah.
So you really want to be able to keep moving, but stay calm and move slow.
Yeah.
Not moving at that last second. I think that's really important.
So from my perspective as an attacker, as I'm watching him, notice how Justin is kind of baiting me a little bit with his head. So this becomes my target, my focus. As an attacker, I'm kind of honed in on this. And common mistakes are for people to flinch or jerk away, right? Boom, and when that happens, right, he's totally out of balance, and this second attack's gonna be coming in, boom, right here, because now he's in a position where he'll never be able to defend against his second attack. It's gonna be too late, right? Let's do phase 3 in slow motion. The only thing I can do from here is back away and take distance, right? Which puts him in a safe position. So he's not vulnerable for that second swing that's gonna come really quickly otherwise.
Absolutely. The other key important point here, I think we stated this in the very beginning, is that we're purposefully not striking. We're learning just how to control an opponent for a few moments.
This is a drill to help us learn how to manage distance, timing, footwork, and things like that. Obviously, if somebody comes at you with a bat and you have the opportunity to run, that's your first option. You know, obviously, you want to avoid being there in the first place. Keep that in mind. That's always your first option. With that, let's call it a day.
Cool.
Nice.